Hi guys, this is Marko. Today I'm going to show you the new Furthrrrr generator by a new company in Vienna, which is called Endorphins. It's a dual oscillator with a very flashy design and a very sturdy manufacturing. The potentiometers are actually bolted onto the faceplate, so it's all really solid and in my opinion a very beautiful design. So I'm going to go very technically through the different features. There are no other modules put in between, so I have one cable which is going straight to my audio interface, and everything you're gonna hear is only this module. So I'm going to start with the different waveform outputs of the carrier oscillator. We have sine tone, saw wave, square wave, and noise. And I'm immediately going to show you the syncing features which the carrier also offers. So what is already implied is that when you turn the switch, you can soft sync or hard sync to the modulating oscillator. You can also use an external source and in order to soft sync or hard sync. But if nothing is plugged in, then this switch will either cause a hard sync, which you can also see on the oscilloscope. So hard sync means that in the frequency of the modulator, the wave is re-triggered. And when I do a soft sync, then the wave is folded back. And this results into quite a different, now you can see it nicely on the oscilloscope. So the wave is not re-triggered, it's inverted, so to say. And yeah, sonically this brings quite different results. This was the soft sync. And the hard sync. What I should also point out is that for the tuning we have a large dial in the middle which turns 10 times, so there is no coarse and fine tuning. We can just go through the different octaves with this dial, and it's still flexible enough also for fine tuning. And a special feature of this oscillator is that you have a built-in tuner. So you see a blue and a red LED on either side of the frequency knob, and when both lights are on, it means that you hit exactly 440 Hertz or an octave transposition of it. And when you're above that, only the red light will go on, or when you're below that frequency, only the blue light will go on. So this gives you the possibility to tune your instrument even when it's not being audible at that moment. A very handy feature, I find. Okay, so then on the right side you have two outputs which are identical, and they are designated with this somewhat enigmatic triangle. And here we get the output after the wave folding section. And the wave folding section gives us three different possibilities to affect the sound. Right now everything is turned counterclockwise, and the result is a sine wave, more or less. And when I turn up the further dial, for example, get a much richer sound in terms of harmonics. It's a sort of square wave. And depending on the position of the different knobs, I can either have a saw wave. This is actually a double saw wave now because we are hearing it an octave higher. Here it's a regular saw wave with a little spike in the middle. And here we get a classic pulse wave. That's our carrier oscillator. The modulating oscillator is designed in a very similar way, only doesn't have the wave shaping section. But we also have individual outputs for sine wave, saw wave, and pulse wave. It also has soft sync and hard sync possibilities. And you can also put it in a low range mode. In that mode it will function as a low frequency oscillator, and the LED on this side also shows the frequency at which it modulates. It can go pretty slow actually. Okay, with the middle section we can apply different sorts of modulations to the carrier oscillator. So by default the modulating oscillator is modulating the carrying oscillator, but you have even an external input through which you could, for example, route a different oscillator, LFO or whatever, through the modulating section to the carrying oscillator. That's also a very nice feature. If you do that, you can of course still use the modulating oscillator as an independent oscillator. So it's still fully functional. You just bypass it and use an external source to modulate the carrier. But let's now just apply some regular modulations to the carrier. We have 4 different types of modulation: balanced, which is the same like ring modulation; amplitude modulation; frequency modulation; and further. Further is actually applying modulation to this knob, which is part of the wave shaping section. And I'll go through them one by one. Let's start with the ring modulation. Okay, what we're hearing now is a pretty noisy sound. That's because I'm here in the sample and hold mode, which means that the oscillator, the modulating oscillator, is outputting practically noise. Here I can namely select the waveform that is sent to the modulating section. Now I'm applying a pulse wave to the ring modulator, sine wave, saw wave, and noise again. So I'll go to a kind of classic setting now. And now we hear a typical ring modulation. And the intensity can be controlled with the mood index. So now let's go to amplitude modulation. And of course you can also use them at the same time. I'm playing around with the wave shaping section. Okay. The frequency modulation is classic FM. It's actually pre-patched is that you can immediately apply some cross modulation by turning up the FM in on the modulating section. This means that while the modulator is FM modulating the carrier, the output of the carrier is also modulating again the modulating oscillator. So without any patching cables you can immediately create quite complex cross modulations. And eventually the further modulation, which really gives a very nice rich sound, I find. And as I pointed out before, you can also combine the different types of modulation, apply them all at the same time if you like to. So now I also applied the soft sync. And the hard sync. I'm glad to have it, and I hope you'll have as much fun with it as I do. Thanks and goodbye.